also, Doc, there have been rumors circulating about contaminated test kits in the country. Is this just fake news, or is there reason for concern?
So currently we know that you can, so in terms of testing, it's only done at the laboratories, your private and public sector laboratories. There've been no kits, those are self-home type of kits that have been approved currently for use to diagnose the virus or antibodies as yet. That may come into the market in the next couple of weeks, those tests for the virus and potentially antibodies in terms of individuals, and that would have to go in terms of how approved the kit is, and to be verified by the various approval boards within South Africa. So if you can buy it off the shelf at one of the pharmaceutical stores, the chances are that it's well, the whole chain and has been monitored, and that it's not contaminated. With regards to the laboratories, they run very, very stringent protocols. So the risk of your test being contaminated is very unlikely. In other words, what I'm saying is that there may be a chance that your test comes up as negative when you're actually positive. And the reasons are, there are a couple of reasons why that could be. One, there's not enough viral load in the body. It's too early that you went to do the test. The second one is that when they took the swab, they didn't take enough of the swab. And we do know some cases that people have been to one laboratory and a day or two later they go to another laboratory and it's positive. But I would feel safe and secure that the laboratories in South Africa are running the correct protocols, that we do not want to worry about contamination. So it can come back negative, as I said, and at a later stage positive. But the chances are, if it's positive, if your test result comes as positive, 99.999% is that you are positive, it hasn't been contaminated, and you need to act accordingly.
And now, Doc, let's discuss COVID-19 in children. Are the symptoms in children the same as symptoms in adults?
So as we know, and there's been a lot written in the media and the scientific media and medical literature, is that children actually get it very mildly. In fact, most children are actually asymptomatic carriers. And in fact, if they are experiencing any symptoms, it's extremely mild. There are the couple of cases, and those are at the end of the spectrum who may get it more severely, and type of rash, type of infections, etc., that we've read about. But in most cases, children will be what they call the type of silent carriers. The second point to say is that our current literature shows that actually children actually spread the virus to other adults. They're much low spreaders in terms of being able to shed the virus. And so I'm not saying they don't, but the risk of them spreading it onto another individual is actually much less than, say, an adult who's infected with the virus. So the one thing we know, therefore, that, as I said, they're asymptomatic. So if they have it, we may not know. But the other thing, and we can take a bit of comfort, is that the risk of them spreading it onto another individual is much less than the average population.
Why is it generally not so serious in children?
So there are a lot of reasons given at the moment, and a lot of talk around that. But it seems one of the reasons could be that the main type of response to, if we're infected by COVID, is an immune response. Our immune systems respond. We get the congestion. We don't feel well, and if it goes into the lungs, it's actually the immune response, the way we react to it, that actually causes lungs, the difficulty breathing, etc. And there's a theory around to say that in children, the immune systems are not as well developed as in adults, and hence their response to the infection of the virus is not as severe as it would be in the adult population. But I'm sure there are going to be a lot more theories that actually come to play as the pandemic spreads. And I'm going to emphasize that again. We're only a couple of months in this pandemic. Pandemics, as we know, we look in history, can last a year, 2 years, 3 years, many years. And I'm sure in 5 years' time, we may be coming up with a whole bunch of information that in terms of what we're discussing today, actually is not the truth, and it's changed, and it's very different. But we can only make the best. We can only give the information to what we know to the best of our knowledge at this stage, and that's how we're trying to manage our way through this pandemic.